Thank you very much, Robin, and delighted as Claire as well and myself to be in this panel and discussing this important subject about poultry production and try to understand better how we can help. Of course, I will try to bring from my side the industry perspective and try to explain how we could potentially develop tools and ways to keep the poultry safe. Of course, from our side, as Zoetis, we've been in the industry for over 65 years, and we've seen the growth of the different industries. Either this is ruminants or either this is poultry, and we continue bringing. We think that with our researchers, we continue bringing innovation because we believe that this is the solution to all these significant health problems. So I thought today to just give you a few slides so to present the overall industry and a few areas which I hope will stimulate discussions later on. So let me start with saying, where is poultry industry, poultry health industry belong within the whole animal health industry. So the animal health industry. It's a large industry. It's around 40 billion industry, and the poultry part is a significant part in this industry, around 10 to 15%. So we're around 5.7 to 6 billion per year, and this animal health industry is very much driven from medicines, vaccines, parasiticides, medicated feed additives, which are all play a significant role in keeping the poultry safe. And my discussions and my presentation here will very much focus on the farm level. So these are the tools that we have today, either in developed or developing countries, to be able to combat diseases. And then what we see in the last few years, you see some new technologies or some new areas to take more, to become more important. So we see more diagnostic, we see more bio devices, we see more genetics, and also what we call precision livestock farming with data and digital tools to try to help expand and put the different traditional products that we have towards keeping poultry safe and healthy. One area that I wanted to touch here is about the growth drivers, and just to all our partners and all the participants here to understand that poultry and animal health is a growing area. It's an industry that keeps growing, and this makes sense because there are some key drivers. The first driver is the growing of global population. We know that from 7 billion it will become 9 billion. That's the predictions, but we know as well that there's going to be a rising middle class. What that means is that we know that the middle class will prefer to have or to have more animal proteins, but also they will want to have proteins that is healthier, and as such, we know that healthier animals will be needed. We know that there's going to be a growing protein consumption at different levels, and of course, we will know that these animals, the society will want to be kept in very good conditions, and the welfare will be of paramount importance. So increasing demand for animal care across the species is important, and a lot of our professionals in poultry hub will need to continue towards that. If we go to the next slide. So within Zoetis and within the industry, my first message is that if you have healthy animals, we will have healthy people. That's the typical One Health approach. So to keep healthy animals, we believe within Zoetis that we have to bring all the necessary tools to do that. So we have moved to what to call a solution approach on the continuum of care. So we do believe that unless you bring all these tools to the farmers, to the vets, it's going to be not so easy their job to keep their poultry healthy. So in this particular case, we know that genetics are critical. So we will work closely with most of the genetic companies in poultry because they will bring chicken that they will be more resistant to disease, more adaptable to the environment. So genetics plays a significant role, and it's important to be considered as part of the tools that we have. Then you go to vaccinations and prophylactics, and to try to prevent disease. Always we believe prevention is better than treatment. And again, from the vaccine perspective, we have a number of vaccines for most of the diseases that are available and or they're possible. But again, you know, some of these vaccination strategies have to be driven very much from the actual country. And also, we believe that, you know, that the vaccinations has to be given as early as possible, and you have invested in novel vaccination as early as into the egg, and that's pretty unique on how we can do vaccinations in poultry. Automation, again, in some of the developing but developed countries as well, are critical because of the number of chickens. Then continue on the on our tools. We believe that data analytics and sensors will start playing most important role, even in the more smaller farms. So, and sensors will start giving us more information on a 24/7 approach of what is happening, you know, what is the humidity, what may be changing within the flocks. And then diagnostics is an area that we feel that's growing a lot, because unless we have more diagnostics to understand what type of strains are in the farm, is it Salmonella, is it Campylobacter, what type of prevention measures do we need to have, it's difficult then to bring the right tools. So diagnostics are key to be able to keep the animals healthy. And of course, animals would get disease, and poultry will have the disease, and then you have to utilize medicines that will keep them alive. So, if we can go to the next slide, I think here we talk about the continuum of care, but at the end of the day, you know, especially in a lot of these developing countries, it's important to keep the balance right. So so we know that this is a key part. So the social, economic, environmental pressures that poultry producers and poultry operations are facing need to be balanced with all this with the productivity that they need to achieve. And we firmly believe, and we've seen this for many years, either when I was in academia or now in industry, that, you know, innovation is the way forward. So, you know, innovative solutions is where we have to go. So from our side, we see that, you know, the poultry producers have a lot of pressure to reduce use of antibiotics, increased focus on animal welfare, constraints labor, especially in some of the developed countries. So these are typical social constraints that there are, but there are solutions. There are alternatives to antibiotics, prophylaxis, you know, vaccinations that they can reduce the use of antibiotics, or they can increase the animal welfare. Then when you go to economics, you see, you know, that low farmer increase is a highly commoditized industry. The productivity and the health, also the premiums that can be captured for differentiated product practices, and to see, you know, the organic food or other ways that can give traceability into the food chain, and the consumer at the end will be happy to pay this to pay for this. And then again, this is a new trend. And then from the environment perspective, although we don't have the issues that you have with the gas emissions that you have with ruminants or other animals, we still see, as Claire mentioned as well, you know, the issues with the contamination of water and air, the use of manure and so on. So if you can move to the next slide, please. So my next point is about data. So we do believe that we do have tools, but you have to be precise on how we use this tool. And something that all my colleagues telling me from poultry is that the poultry industry is rich in data. So probably it's one of the few industries that has so much data. So the availability of data, either from more rural or more developed countries, it's quite a lot. The question is, how do you transfer this data to something that is insightful and makes sense to the farmers? And here is some of the work that you're doing with University of Surrey and Beehive, where we try to take data from different areas and then try to bring it to something meaningful through applications, through apps that will help bring meaningful results. If we go to the next slide. And the insightful information has to be actionable, and that's what we try to do, and actionable to all the actors in the poultry. Either this is in developing or developed countries, and that's an example of what have we done. For example, here is about the IBV, the coronavirus, and where, by the way, you have a very good vaccine. So like COVID-19, coronavirus and poultry has have tremendous experience of that. So we can see a lot of these vaccinations being very successful in creating billions of coronavirus vaccines every year. So anyway, so here you can see, how we can start understanding, what is the presence of coronavirus in different countries, what type of strains there are, how much usage of antibiotics there are, where the strains they come, and then you can see, how pandemics or epidemics can move. So these are typical services or products that can help farmers and also veterinarians. So if we can go to the next slide, and hopefully this is my last slide. I wanted to say that at the end of the day, to be successful, we need to make sure that we work together with other organizations. And what we found is that the poultry, but in other areas as well, that the public-private partnerships work really well. Here is an example of the work that we are doing. For example, we have a twinning of two universities, one in Africa, the Jimmy University, and the veterinary university in Vienna, where we call it Poultry Aid, and our aim is to develop capacities in Africa, so to help training and help people progress diagnostics and vaccinations in that area. So the critical part here is that we have to work all together towards the same goal, but at the same time we have to be we have to know that the specific measures has to fit to the specific countries and the needs of the local environment. So with this, I hope that I'm on time, and I'll turn to Robin.